Welcome to the second day of our workshop, which is Back2Basics Web Development Introduction to HTML. I am Trixel Wantong, and I will be discussing the first half of our workshop for today. And for later, JG Kabatuan will be demonstrating our CSS. Next slide, please. So we will be discussing an introduction to CSS. Next slide, please. So CSS or cascading style sheets is defines how an HTML file and its elements should be displayed, from the borders surrounding an element, colors, font styles, and widths. So the common misconception is that it's a programming language. However, it is a styling language that is used to modify the appearance of a web page. So HTML is for the content, while the CSS is for the design and appearance of the content. Next slide, please. So for creating a CSS file, it is similar to that of HTML. A CSS file can be created by creating a text file and saving it using the extension .css. So text editors will normally allow you to choose to save it as CSS. Next slide, please. So here you can see we have a sample file, and you could download it to know how CSS works with HTML. You can either go to this link or you could scan it using the QR code presented in the screen right now. So for styling HTML elements, you can define the style of your HTML elements such as the body and specific headers. All elements created will be affected by how you style them in the CSS file. To define an element style, write down the name of the element as it appears in HTML tags and place curly braces. Inside, write the property, like the background color and etc., and the value you want it to be. So each parameter ends with a semicolon. Next slide, please. So here is the basic syntax of the CSS. We have here the name body, which is actually the selector. The selector is, it starts off with it to apply the styles that we want it to. And then we have the open and close curly braces, which will consist of the styles that will be applied for the selector, which is the body. And we have the property, which is the background color, and its property value, which is blue. And then we'll be ending it with a semicolon. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, we have another example for the header 1. We will be changing its font family to Verdana. So the property is the font family, and the property value is Verdana. Next slide, please. Okay, so for our last example, we have a header 2, which we will be changing its font family and its font size. So the property here is the font family and the font size. And the property value is Mojave, and the font size property value is 12. Next slide, please. So here are some CSS properties and value formats. So for the background color, we can have its value formats as the background color, which could be in either hex code or in words. Same goes for the border color, which is the surrounding border color of an element. Also in color, we can have it in hex code or in words. In the font family, this is where you specify the font for an element. And in the font size, you can set the value formats into small, medium, large, pixel, or in percentage. In the width, you can set it into pixels or percentage in the screen. Also, lastly, for the padding, it's usually used for margins and spacing, and the value format is in pixels. Next slide, please. So now we will be discussing about the div tag. So the div refers to a division or section in the HTML document and is used to separate the document into meaningful groups. It's used to modify the styles of specific blocks. So usually the div tag is easily styled by using the class or the ID attribute, which we will be discussing later. So here we can see in the example in the right, we have a class selector, which the syntax is starts with a period and its class name. So this enables it to be distinguished as a class name and not as an HTML element. And then we can have the CSS declarations inside the curly braces. For the HTML document, we can call in the div tag and we could write the class, which the name is the card, and we could add more HTML elements in the div tags. Next slide, please. Okay, so now we will be discussing about the ID. So the ID attribute refers to a style for a specific element unique to the document. So IDs are declared using the hashtag symbol. And since it is unique to the document, there cannot be more than one declaration for the element. So as you can see in our example here on the right, in our CSS file, we have the ID which starts off with the hashtag symbol and its name. And we could have here the declarations for our ID. And in our HTML file, we will be calling on the div tag, and we will be setting its ID to the name of which is my header, and we can put more elements inside the div tag in our HTML file. Okay, next slide, please. So now we will be discussing about the difference between class and ID. So usually classes can be used by several elements in a page, whereas IDs can only be used by one element per page. This means that classes can be used um, in various places in the HTML file, whereas IDs you can only use it per page. So multiple elements can have the same class but not the same ID. Next slide, please. So now we will be having the demonstration to be led by JG.
Hello everyone, I'm JG and I'm going to demonstrate to you how to use the cascading style sheets. So we left off with this document file, this HTML file. So this is the HTML file we made before. So I put some comments in here to just to know what we're gonna do with this HTML file. So first, we're gonna link this no more to about me.html. So currently, this this redirects us to our community, but we want to actually put no about me here so that we can see how CSS is flexible and how convenient it is. So just put about me.html here and file, save. Now if I go to Google Chrome or my browser, I'll reload this and click no more. It actually redirects me to the about me. So I'll open this. This is, I made this before so that I won't have to do it again. So yeah, we are linked it, so I'm gonna delete this. So next thing we're gonna do is make the H1 color blue. To do this, okay, let's get backward. So to do this, if you have to do inline style, have to make style equals color blue. Save this and You reload this, your H1 actually becomes blue. But in our About Me HTML, we also want to make this H1 blue. So you have to do this again. But it gets hectic when we have 100 files in a single website. So if you have several files, you're gonna copy and paste every style in every line in every file. So that's impossible to do. So the best thing to do is make an external CSS file. So do that, click new, and save this as whatever name you want. I'm gonna save this as my style dot CSS. Yes, replace it. So first, okay, said you want to make the H1 blue. So H1 color blue. Save and reload. It didn't do anything. Why? It's because we never linked it to the metadata. So we must link it first. Link relationship. The relationship is style sheet, and hyperreference is whatever name you gave the file. So in my case, it's my style.css, and close. Save this, and when you reload this, you notice that the H1 actually changes color. It becomes blue. So we're gonna do the same thing. Copy this and paste this in our about me, because we actually want to make the H1 also blue. So goes about me, yeah, changes to blue. So let's go back and out, and actually this. So the next thing on our list is to put the following code in a box: the H2, the image, and the link, the hyperlink. So we taught you about the div class, which makes a division. So this is actually helpful to make a box, to put this piece of code in a box. So put that div there, and you reload this, nothing happened, but it's actually part of a div now. If you press F12 in your browser, where it is, okay, reload F12, save, actually, sorry, and yeah, it's part of a div class now. So it's part of a division, so you can put this in a box. So to make a box, go to your my style. So you have different ways to declare a, a selector. So to declare a class, you're gonna put a period first, then put the name of your class. In my case, I'm gonna name it card. So in my card class, I'm gonna set the border width equal to 2 pixels. The border color, uh, sorry, border color equals to black, and border style set that to solid. Margin bottom. Let's make 5 pixels. Uh, Padding also 5 pixels, and width the width of the box, we'll set that to arbitrary number, which is, I guess, 500 pixels in my case. That's the best. Okay, so we made the card class. So save this, and when you reload it, nothing happened. Why? It's because you didn't put the class in here. So do that. You put class equals and the name of your class, which is in my case card, and save, reload again, and there you go. It this uh, put this three in the box, so we can actually press this out. and save it. Now let's move on to the about me. So our to do here is put each in separate boxes with different colors. So each division here, we're actually gonna put this in a different box with a different color. To do that, just put this glass and card. Okay, there. And then you go there, it puts the each here, the box. You can repeat this 3 times. Just copy this, put that in the opening tag, and there. We put them in separate boxes. We also have to put each in different colors. So do that. You can actually put color here, but that will make it the same to every box in here. So we'll make a different one. This time we're gonna make an ID. Let's say yellow card, color yellow. So yellow card. Let's make this the first div into a yellow card. So to do that, just put ID equals, sorry, ID equals the name of the ID you made. So yellow card, and hit save, reload. It's actually not what we expected because I made a mistake. It must be background color. Background color. I'm sorry. Okay, so when you reload this, it's actually made it background color. And we're gonna make several more colors, which I think one is black card, and the background color to obviously black, black. All right, there you go. And to actually do this, that we can actually see the text in here, we're gonna make the color of the text white for visibility, and we're gonna make a gray card. So background color, set it to gray, gray. It's a right, gray, and color also white for visibility. So save it and put those colors in here so we can actually make them a different color. So ID equals, let's make this one the black card, black card. And let's make this one the gray card. Okay, save and reload. It actually works. So yeah, we made the ID and class. Let's say you're not satisfied. Let's say you want this bold text to actually have different colors. I mean, you actually want this to have a different color than everything in this box. So instead of putting inline style in this B, you can actually make the bold tag as a selector. You can do that by B as a bold tag and put the color. Let's say you want to make it yellow. So yeah, yellow. You save this and you reload everything that you put on in between the bold tag here. The bold tag signifies that whatever in between these will become bold. So yeah, it became yellow. It became yellow. So yeah, we make all bold text yellow. So get it out, and we put each separate boxes in different colors. So we'll take this out as well. Okay, let's say you're not satisfied. Let's say you want to make all fonts here, all font family equals to Arial. You can actually do that by, can actually affect everything by putting asterisk and say font family Arial. Arial. I think that's the spelling of Arial. I think it is. Yeah. Save. When you reload this, everything become Arial. including the hello world here, revision, no more, everything become Arial. So yeah, that's it. That's it for the CSS, external CSS file demonstration.
So if you have any questions, feel free to ask or comment down, and we'll be answering them if you have any questions for the topic today about CSS or even the topic that we had yesterday, which is HTML. Okay, to wrap up our workshop, we would be requiring you to show us your work. So create an HTML file with what you have learned from our workshop. So after the CSS session on January 15, which is today, send us your file through upvdsc@gmail.com. Pages with local images should be sent as zip files. And we will be sending out certificates to those who have completed the workshop. So the deadline for this will be on January 30, 2020. Again, you may send your files through upvdsc@gmail.com, and the deadline will be on January 30, 2021 rather. Sorry. Okay, next slide, please. May we ask the participants to turn on your webcams so that we can have a photo opportunity. For those who are